Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting the full card of fights for UFC Fight Night, Rozenstruik versus Gane. So without further ado, let's get to our first fight on the card and our first fight on the prelim. So in our first fight, we have in the light heavyweight division, Dustin Jacoby versus Maximum Grishin. So we're looking at this card, like starting with this one and looking further. Whoever was the matchmaker for these fights should get a bonus because they're doing some good work, right? I think this is a good like measuring stick for both fighters, like Jacoby and Grishin, two fighters who are solid strikers. Well, Grishin is a more well-rounded, solid fighter overall, but like as far as being more like well-rounded. But both of these guys have struggled with wrestlers and grapplers in their past. Grishin more recently we've seen some of that. Jacoby, we haven't really seen him go against a grappler in a while. And he's been looking good so far. Like he's making his return to the MMA and it's looking real good for him. But again, there's some questions like how does he deal with a grappler? And Grishin could pose some of those threats. He's not like, but it's not like a case he's going against a pure wrestler. He's going against a guy that can definitely, I want to say match him in striking, but can definitely hold a good account for himself in the striking department against Jacoby. And then be able to mix and take it. He's not going against a guy that has zero striking or terrible striking or sloppy striking and just desperado wrestling. He's going against a guy that's like a veteran with like 40 plus fights, solid striking and solid grappling. So you got a guy, I'm not saying the guy is like a phenomenal takedown artist, phenomenal submission artist. He's not that, but he has a well-rounded game and he has experience and he can implement that against Jacoby. So this is a good measuring stick to say, can Jacoby deal with a veteran like this who might look to use that fight IQ, look to use his other skills and, like I said, mix it with him on the feet, then try to level change or catch a kick and take him down and see how Jacoby does off his back. Because in the past, Jacoby didn't do the best off his back. But yeah, that's enough been said about the matchmaking, good matchmaking. But how I see this fight right here, I think Jacoby definitely is the better striker in my opinion. Looking from what I've seen, faster. I think he could chew up the lead leg of Grishin. But all that being said, and also I think he could bully him in the clinch, land some brutal knees, brutal elbows. But all that being said, I feel like Grishin, I'm going to lean to the more well-rounded fighter and Maximum Grishin in this one. I feel like he can time the kicks with Jacoby. I think Jacoby has some good, powerful, low leg kicks. Very dangerous, can definitely do some damage. But a lot of times he do get predictable, and also I worry about his gas tank. I know Grishin could go arounds with Jacoby and force Jacoby to fight a harder, more difficult fight. I know he can put him in a smothering situations and also put him in uncomfortable situations. And that's what I feel like Grishin could do. I feel like he can, like I said, give him a good accord on the striking, smother him with some pressure, try to maybe reverse the pressure against Jacoby and put him against the cage, catch some of the kicks and get some takedowns and control time, and make, fight a smart fight and get a decision over Jacoby. That's what I think happens. Like I said, catching leg kicks, making Jacoby work, whether in the clinch or catching kicks, or make him have to put up more value than he wants to, or make him exert himself, and then tie him up, take him down, catch a kick, get him to the ground, or like I said, get him to the cage, all on the ground, and grind out a decision. So in this one, I have Maximum Grishin via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the bantamweight division, Lawerence versus Vince Cachero. And I'm looking at this one, just really looking at his last fight against Jamal Emmers. Caceres' takedown defense is not the best. Look at some of his other fights, his takedown defense is not the best. And I think that's definitely a clear path for Lawerence could easily beat him by just getting takedowns and controlling him. But really, I didn't see, even in the striking department, Lawerence is much more filled out or more skilled in that area. I just see Lawerence is more skilled in every area. And I think he could do just as good of a performance as Emmers did against Cachero, if not better, in my opinion. I think he can, some real good body shots, real good spinning back kicks, real good timing. And yeah, I think Lawerence really beats him in every single area, reaches the same, but he's like 2-3 inches taller, faster, and better in every area. I think he can get takedowns, score takedowns when he wants to, land shots to the body when he wants to, pepper Cachero with jabs. And I'm actually going to think he's going to stop Cachero and when he come in there, try to make a statement, maybe mixing some takedowns here and there, get him off his timing. And then once he starts getting him off his time and get him uncomfortable, start to rip him to the body. And then I think he puts him away in that second round. So in this one, I got Lawerence via second round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have in the light heavyweight division, Alonzo Menifield versus William Knight. And again, this is why I'm talking about great matchmaking. So you got two guys who you really just fall into they're both physically strong, but what else do they bring category? Well, not we've seen like some grappling, some submissions, but it's like people like he's not. It doesn't look the most technical. It's like he just really muscle. Like he just looks extremely physically strong. It don't look like the best technique, but this guy just looks extremely strong in these positions. Then you look at his fight against Tafon in Chukwi, where he tried the same stuff, but Tafon has skills and technique and strength, and he tried to muscle some takedowns and really just got bullied in those situations. Got this bullying got stopped when he tried to do that muscling stuff. So like, oh, if he goes against another guy that's a physically strong guy, just as physical as Knight, if not more physical than Knight, and like an athletic fighter like Menifield, who's gonna prevail? So, and Menifield is the bigger, taller fighter, probably stronger too. William Knight, I feel like, is a little bit more skill. We have not seen Menifield's grappling, so I would say William Knight is the more skilled, more well-rounded fighter. But Menifield is the bigger, more athletic fighter and stronger fighter, perceivably. So how would William Knight deal with that when his strength is one of his bigger assets? So that's what I'm kind of saying. But one thing I say, William Knight, I think his heart and true experience is better. Even though Menifield has one more fight, which is a loss. It's I feel like William Knight is the more experienced fighter. It just feels he has that more feel where like Menifield still like this girl, like this raw talent. But how I see this one right here, I think William Knight's very awkward, which is gonna make it interesting. But really, what I'm kind of saying is one. I think Menifield. I feel like Knight can push it longer, and I feel like if he gets Menifield to the ground, then the gap between them gets even bigger. I think right now it's like a pick him on the feet, but on the ground, Knight has a clear advantage, and I think that's what's gonna happen. I think it's gonna be a slugfest of sorts through the first round, but then eventually, as Menifield starts to slow down, Knight's gonna be able to start to pressure more, start to go for the takedown more, and he's gonna be able to score the takedown. Whether it's be a slip, catching a kick, or able to get to Menifield's hips or through his legs and pull him down to the ground. And then from there, I just see him start to weigh on Menifield, tire him out. And then third round, a labored Menifield. Knight takes him down, lands some heavy ground and pound on him, and then taps him out in that third round. So in this fight, I have William Knight via third round submission. Now to our next fight, we have in the women's flyweight division, Alexis Davis versus Sabina Mazo. So Alexis Davis seems to be the more well-rounded fighter and definitely the more experienced fighter in this one, but she's up there in age and she hasn't won since 2018, riding a 3-fight losing streak. She's been stiff her whole career, even more stiff now when she gets into her twilight years of her career. Mazo's longer, stronger, faster. Well, longer and faster. I want to say strong. Mazo not the most physically strong fighter, but long, fast, much more technical striker, much more fluid. And I think she could really just pick apart Davis on the feet. I don't think she stops Davis, but I do think she busts her up, cuts her up, and beats her by a wide margin in this one, in a fight that largely plays out on the feet. I think Davis going to try to crash into the clinch a lot, but probably get met with elbows, knees, and front kicks to the face, but gets butchered up to a decision. So in this one, I have Sabina Mazo via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in our prelim headliner in the 155 division, the lightweight division, Alexander Hernandez via Thiago Moises. So I don't know what this stutter step I'm going with in my voice right now, but excuse me. So Hernandez versus Thiago Moises. I see this one right here. I would say neither of these guys are the super highest levels of strikers. Moises is definitely trying to work, improve his hands. At first, he was just heavy on the kicks. His hands were nothing to write home about. But he's definitely getting better with his hands, as we've seen in the Bobby Brown fight. I said Bobby Green fight. I think he really lost that fight, but they gave it to him. It wasn't no robbery at all, though. But definitely, I think the improvements in his hands and his boxing and his striking, as far as like the hands, his kicks have always been good. His punches are definitely getting better. But I think it's one with Hernandez. I don't think it's going to be a case of it's going to be a super high output fight. I think Hernandez is going to be trying to fight, come in, come out when he wants to, and try mixing some takedowns, get some control. But I definitely think Hernandez will win the takedown battle, and he has, solid submission awareness and grappling skills to neutralize what I think what most of Moises will have, especially off his back. If he wants to put Moises on his back, I don't think he's going to get like 5 takedowns in this one, but maybe 1 or 2. And just the fact that the threat of it is going to throw Moises off. I think Hernandez is the more physical, stronger fighter and definitely packs more of a punch than Moises. like I said, not the highest output, but I think Hernandez is going to outwork Moises in this one. And he's going to land the heavier shots, being the heavier-handed fighter. And I think he's going to score the takedowns in this one, whether it be like not the most, but just enough. That's going to give him an edge. The power is going to give him an edge. And the work rate is going to give him an edge. But it's not going to be a high work rate, but it's going to be really dictated by Hernandez's wrestling advantage and his power advantage, which is going to allow him to edge a decision over Moises. Is it going to be the most impressive decision? Not really, but it's going to be, I feel like it's going to be a clear enough decision that Hernandez controlled the takedowns. Not a lot, but like 2-3 or 2, and landed the heavier shot. So in this one, I have Alexander Hernandez via decision. Now on to our main card. So in our first fight on the main card, we have in the featherweight division, Alex Caceres versus Kevin Croom. And I see this one right here. Kevin Croom definitely has the power. I definitely has the strength. And he's definitely going to make this fight. You know, he's not going to make it pretty at all. And Caceres fight, when somebody really brings it to him, is never pretty. And really, in general, everyone brings it to Caceres. And he just has to find his base within that chaos. And sometimes he wins, sometimes he loses. But that's why the record's almost 500. But against Croom, I think Alex Caceres will be the much faster fighter. Very unorthodox. That's going to draw off Croom from landing the power as consistently as he wants to, or as cleanly as he wants to. I think with Caceres' improvement in that jab, he's really going to be able to bust up the eyes and the nose and the face of Croom. Land some kicks, some of the little knee taps with the jab. Some spinning kicks. And then if Croom wants to go for the takedowns, I think Alex Caceres can land some elbows off his back, throw some submission attempts. But I think this is definitely like a decision victory for Caceres, but not gonna be not gonna be the easiest to score. But I think Caceres definitely gonna have the work rate on the feet. I think it's definitely gonna be and land the cleaner shots, the more significant strikes, win that battle. But I think what's gonna make it difficult is the power of Croom when he lands heavy shots where they land cleanly or like on the shoulder or whatnot. The fact that you know how Caceres reacts, you're gonna be based on how the judges are receiving that. Because like I said, even if it don't land the cleanest, if you're reacting to it, the judges might see it one way. And also with how Caceres spends a lot of time on his back. And like I said, Croom is no slouch in the grab. So if he could take Caceres down, I feel like he will have some takedowns on Caceres and some control time, which is not uncommon in Caceres fights. It's going to be a close fight, which is also not uncommon in Caceres fights. But yeah, like I feel like Caceres is going to be the better striker, and is the better striker. There is the more technical striker, and is the higher work rate fighter. And that's going to be what's going to lead him from. He's going to outwork Croom, but Croom's power and control time is going to make it tight. And the fact that he's going to bring it to Caceres is going to make it tight, but Caceres is going to outstrike him, outwork him. I felt like about like 10 to 15 significant strikes, but a close fight, but Caceres leaning it and getting a decision. So in this one, I have Alex Caceres via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the women's strawweight division, Angela Hill versus Ashley Yoder. So this is actually a rematch. And I really don't see this going too much different from the first one, except I feel like it goes even better for Hill this time. Like this first fight was real razor close. But this time, Angela Hill's takedown defense is even better. She's put on some muscle. And she has some solid experience and really came in close to beating some real top competition in this division. So I feel like she can definitely stuff the takedowns and address the wrestling of Yoder even better this time. You know, maintain her distance and control that wrestling distance and those shots of Yoder, and really just like pepper up with some jabs, some teeps, and shoot a lead leg of Yoder. And Yoder she doesn't check leg kicks the best or at all. So I feel like there's a lot of opportunities for Hill in this one, but I don't feel like she's gonna get too overzealous in this one, and cause not to give up the takedown to Yoder or the opportunity to Yoder. But I do feel like she's still gonna let her hands go a little bit more than she did in the first time. Let her kicks go a little bit more than it did in the first fight, because she's more confident in her takedown defense. And her takedown defense is better. Her scramble ability is much better than it was when she fought Yoder the first time. I feel like Yoder might still get 1 or 2 takedowns, but definitely control time not gonna be there as much. And again, Hill's gonna feel more free out there, feel more comfortable with her new improvements. And I feel like Hill beats her convincingly this time. Not a stoppage, but a clean shutout, a clean decision, maybe 29-28. But I'm really leaning to 30-27. So in this one, I have Angela Hill via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the bantamweight division, Pedro Munhoz versus Jimmy Rivera 2. So another rematch. And in this rematch, I don't see it going too differently either from the first fight. I still think Rivera has the heavier hands. Pedro Munhoz might be overall have the more more tools of destruction, like with his elbows, his knees, his teeps, his spinning back kicks. But Rivera's gonna be in tight, landing heavy shots. He's got a good chin, good heart on him. I mean, yeah, good chin and a good heart. And he's a better inside fighter, and that's where he's gonna keep it. And he has the wrestling edge if he wants to take it there. And he got his no neck, so Pedro Munhoz's biggest tool, his guillotine, has no effect on him. And also Rivera has good submission defense, good wrestling, good grappling. So he really can shut down pretty much everything Pedro Munhoz does, and he's gonna make it a smothering fight, be inside, landing big heavy shots. And it's gonna be another war, just like the first fight. This probably might be the fight of the night. This is definitely a fight of the night contender off the bat. But again, I think stylistically nothing really has changed. They both have improved and did a lot since then. But stylistically, not a lot of change. Like Rivera is still the more physical fighter, still pushes the higher pace and hits harder. The better insider fighter, the better wrestler, still can shut the guillotine down, still has that no neck, and is going to make it in tight and land the heavy shots and be the more physical fighter. But it's going to be like another back and forth fight, but Rivera is going to prevail again because stylistically, I just think he has the edge, and he kind of has his number. Like, he has half the number. It's not like to the point where he just can, every single time he fights him, it's a knockout. Every single time he fights him, it's an easy one-sided fight. Every time it's going to be a war, but Rivera's going to come out just about every single time stylistically if they match up against each other, because he matches up well with Munhoz, and he has the edge, at least stylistically wise, against Munhoz. So in this one, I have Jimmy Rivera via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the women's flyweight division, Montana De La Rosa versus Mayra Bueno Silva. And how I see this one right here, Montana De La Rosa is a slightly more technical striker, but Bueno Silva has the power, and it's not like, and she has the work rate on the feet, and she's not gonna be afraid to let those hands go, and she's gonna outwork her. She's not gonna let those hands go, and she has the power, and that's gonna overshine the little bit of a technical advantage that Montana De La Rosa does have in the striking, that small smidgen of a striking technical advantage. Then grappling wise, Bueno Silva could tap De La Rosa off on top or on bottom. And I really did think she was able to threaten him with submission, make De La Rosa some shy about taking to the ground, on the feet, able to land heavy shots that force De La Rosa to be even more panic wrestling, or to shoot poor shots, throw off her game. And really, those heavy shots in the work rate are going to lead De La Rosa into shooting a poorly timed shot from the wrong distance at the wrong time, throw her timing off, throw her distance off, and throw her whole shot off. It was going to cause her to shoot a sloppy shot that's going to result in her getting submitted. It's going to be in that second round. So in this fight, I have Mayra Bueno Silva via second round submission. Now to our co-main event, we have in the light heavyweight division, Nikita Krylov versus Magomed Ankalaev. So I'm looking at this one. How I see this one, I think Krylov is an interesting challenge for Ankalaev, but overall, I think Ankalaev has the edge in every single area. Like, I feel like he definitely controls the distance better shot selection. Krylov is unorthodox, but Ankalaev is not really going to play into his game or get sloppy. He's going to stay on his toes, maintain his distance, and kind of fight like a karate fighter. Like, he chooses when he wants to engage. He has his lunges at times and then lands his kicks from out at distance. So he doesn't really put himself in the danger zone unless he's the one attacking. Once he attacks, he enters the danger zone to attack, then he exits. He's not in that pocket too long for Krylov to have his opportunities. He has the wrestling edge and the grappling edge in this one. And I think he beats Krylov to a decision. I think, like I said, mixing the takedowns, mixing the kicks, enters. And then I think once he starts getting Krylov biting on the kicks, and Krylov tries to react or try to counter, level changes under, gets takedown, get control time, land ground and pound, and beat Krylov to a pretty convincing decision, like 30-27 shutout, but still Krylov holding a good account for himself. So in this fight, I have Magomed Ankalaev via decision. Now to our main event, we have in the heavyweight division, Jairzinho Rozenstruik versus Gane. So looking at this one right here, again, let me list that Rozenstruik is actually 6'1" or 6 feet tall. He is not 6'4". And Wikipedia is getting closer to it. So he's actually, they say he's 6'2", and that's about right. But I would say 6'1", 6 feet, and you got it on the dot. But Rozenstruik versus Gane, how I see this one. I feel like Rozenstruik, he's a very dangerous fighter. He also has that like Derek Lewis factor about him. Like, At any point, he can knock you out, and he could cover a lot of distance in a very short amount of time and catch you while you're sleeping. He has that effect about him, or that he has that thing to him. But enough about that being said. But how I see this one cut and dry, I think Rozenstruik definitely has a power advantage. Deceptively fast, deceptively explosive. But his tools are kind of, his biggest tools are kind of limited. Like that check hook, switch head kick off the side, off the opposite side, some lunging shots, and also a good jab, but he doesn't really pop it out there too much. He kind of times it at times, but it might use it, but he doesn't use it consistently. So it's not, I want to say it's the biggest tool of his, or, a true tool of his is there, but he doesn't use it that often. And going against Gane, who's the longer, taller fighter, I think Gane just mixes up much better. And Gane's a fighter that relies on being on his toes and being agile and being able to move and being able to angle off and not, be a sitting target. He doesn't. That's one thing that Gane does extremely well, and not being a sitting target. And that's one thing that Rozenstruik really relies on a lot in these fights. When you look at two of his last fights, Dos Santos was out striking him. Then he just waited for Dos Santos to get flat and get his back on that cage and circle off to the same direction he always circles off. And then he was able to knock him out. But he was behind against Junior Santos. He was behind against Overeem, but he fought two veterans. And when they got lax or, fall into that pattern, he took advantage. But against Gane, Gane is a younger, fresher fighter who's always on his toes and not staying like flat-footed in front of your face or moving back on a straight line for Rozenstruik to, to really have his he's not moving, rushing into you, and he's not going straight back. So pretty much he's not playing that straight line game. He's not backing straight up or rushing straight in. He comes in at angles. That's gonna be an issue for Rozenstruik. So that check hook not gonna really be there. Those blitzes that was able to bring him back in these fights aren't gonna be there, unless maybe he rips to the body. I don't really see him ripping to the body like that. I haven't really seen that level of fight IQ and paying those investing into the body early. I haven't seen that from Rozenstruik. I mean, that'd be smart for him doing this fight so that Gane will get sloppy or get tired, and then those openings will be there. But as it is right now, I don't see him doing what needs to be done to tire Gane out so that he starts to make those mistakes, start to get lax, which will open up, some of Rozenstruik's game. So with Gane mixing in those leg kicks, switch stance, hop skips to those little kicks, angling, then ripping to the body, ripping high, and also the fact that Gane's the more well-rounded fighter. So if he wants to mix it in and then come in, hop in, hop out, angle off, and come in with a jab and like I said, fighting on angles and fighting on his toes. And, once he started getting Rozenstruik biting on stuff, then he could even mix it to the ground and potentially tap Rozenstruik out. But what I see is a clean, smart fought fight from Gane. Never staying flat-footed, never staying in one place too long, allowing Rozenstruik to, get a beat on him, and mixing it up like he did against Junior Santos and pretty much every other single fighter did. Never really becoming predictable, never really, like I said, becoming stationary. And, like I said, probably mixing in takedowns as well to fight a smart fought fight to get a decision over a very tough Rozenstruik. I don't think he really tried to force anything in this one because that's how you get caught and get knocked out. But I do think he fights a smart performance and gets a clean, clear decision over Gane. I mean, I said clear decision over himself. A clear decision over Rozenstruik. So in this one, I have Surreal Gane via decision. And that concludes my fight predictions for the full card of UFC Fight Night, Rozenstruik versus Gane. And as always, thanks for watching.